Hello and welcome to the Alexandra Wenman show. I am so delighted to have my dear friend Steve Nobel back on the show. And I just wanted to get Steve in. I just had really strong guidance to get him in for a chat and just to talk about and mull over some of the themes coming up for all of us at the moment in 2023, where we're at in this ascension journey. Welcome, Steve. For those of you
Thanks.
who don't know Steve, he is prevalent on YouTube. He's he's an author. He's an incredible healer and channel. He has the Soul Matrix healing. He does all these incredible transmissions on YouTube, which I'll share the links below for you all. I'm sure many of you have heard of Steve. And Steve, you and I go way back. We go all the way back to when you were at Alternatives and I was at Prediction. And
Yeah,
we
long way
both
ago.
kind of hit the skids in the dark night of the soul and
I,
reconnected afterwards,
I
didn't we?
remember meeting you in the gardens at St James's Church, thinking, "Oh, a kindred spirit."
Yes.
Because you'd
and
think
both
in
and
this
both
world there'd be
Libra.
lots of kindred spirits, but I didn't really feel that were that many. Really,
Yeah,
you're on
yeah.
different wavelengths.
I think the fact that no topic was off limits and the weirder the better, right? And we could just put the world to rights, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and obviously both Libra, so we understand all sides of every coin always.
yeah,
And you're a Pisces moon too, aren't you?
yeah. I am.
Yeah, we're the same.
Okay, soul
um,
brother and sister.
soul brother and sister, I think definitely. The first thing I'm being shouted at to talk about is money and the money systems and what's going on with kind of the planetary finances at the moment. Obviously, we're having a lot of upgrades. There's a lot of deep diving going on. There's a lot of shadow coming up in the money system. What are you seeing in terms of this theme at the moment, and how do we navigate our way through?
Well, my first job was working in banking in the City of London,
Wow, I didn't know that.
international banking. It was all this kind of big flows of money. And it was very, you could say, reptilian-esque, the whole thing. Very boxy brain thinking. But in those days, when I started working, I thought, hey, banks are trustworthy. We trust our banks. They run by rules. And of course, now we're in a different zone where we're not quite sure we trust banks that much. And from where I'm sitting, the banking system, the whole system is kind of quite controlled, isn't it? This is from my point of view. And a lot of people are sensing this. And a lot of light workers, starseeds, are opting out, trying to opt out of the system because they sense it's controlled. So if we can kind of stay at the edge, off grid, all of this kind of stuff, we can avoid. But actually, the mission for most starseeds is to, you come out, you kind of shake yourself off, you meditate, you connect, and then you go back in. You go back in and
Integrate, don't we?
we need to learn to navigate the system, not be afraid of the system, not be afraid of paying taxes and all these kind of things, But money is changing. I said a lot of the old structures governing money have been wobbling badly for a while. Since 2008, I think there was a massive meltdown when it was kind of shored up with 20 billion. They found 20. There was this statement by Theresa May, who was a prime minister in England for a while, and she said, there is no magic money tree, but we find there is a magic money tree. Want there to be, money will be found for various things. What most people feel is that the money is very limited. There's not enough of it to go around. But what I've seen is money is an abundant energy, really. But it's so divided. People who are at the top of the pyramid are having super, super wealth. I mean, amazing wealth, really, that people can't even imagine. And those lower down in the pyramid are also able to access lots of wealth. But there's a great slice at the bottom which are kind of struggling quite badly. The system is set up that, well, some will be really doing okay and some will be blowing bubbles. That's the way it is. So it's not a fair system. And of course, it's out of alignment with the light that's coming into the planet. So systems which are essentially of old energies are wobbling, will continue to wobble, but they're being reinvented. So when I was working 20 or 30 years ago in banking, 30 years, I think. There was no PayPal, there was no cryptocurrencies, there was no all of these things. It was all very boxy. Now there are new things coming in. There is this decentralized cryptocurrencies. People have different thoughts about that, but it is kind of breaking open the way we think about money. And money is just energy, as we know. It's now they're trying to do away with cash. It's now blips in a computer system, isn't it? So money and our interaction with money is an inner relationship first, and then it becomes an outer relationship, just like everything, really. So our belief systems, our stories, our thinking about money, our judgments about money, the opinions of our parents and our family, that we've all of these kind of things are all swirling around inside of us. So I was running a workshop with my partner Liz recently, not about money, but in one of the exercises, with one of the assistants, I paired up with the assistant, and I was just chatting to her very briefly, and very, very quickly, we got to see that she's an actress, and her limits around money. I said to her, your limits around money are all in your head. You know that? She said, yeah, I do know that. And then she started talking a bit more about her experience. And then she went, oh my goodness, that is my dad's story. It just kind of the dots connected, which is a boom and bust story. And I said to her, okay. And now her dad had some kind of shop or something, or, some kind of fixed business. Now I said to her, you're an actress. You're not having a fixed business. You're not in a fixed zone where the economy goes down and your shop blows up. You're going with the economy. You can actually create new markets yourself. And she was like, oh my God, I never thought of it like that. Thank you so much. I said, okay, I just want 10% of anything you make. No, I was joking.
I want royalties.
Now, if you're in the system as an employee, of course, it's a bit more difficult because you're beholden to the company, beholden to the market. But if you are like you and me, or that person, actress, if you are kind of your own CEO, boss, it's a lot easier. And of course, you're confronted with, you are the one making them. We're the ones. And so it's scary for some people. And then it becomes exciting. Hey, if I'm the one, I can expand it. And so this is the kind of journey we're on with money. If someone, let me see, I think, have I got it here? Yeah. If someone is locked into a 3D working system, then I just so happen to have a book which I've rewritten, which is called Joy at Work, which is, basically you have two.
Is that the one that used to be called The Enlightenment of Work?
Yeah. They asked me to rewrite it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And bring it up to date. And so basically you have two choices. You can either jig the way you perceive and experience your work, or you move and change. If you don't like this job, you change yourself and your attitude to it. That may work, and you may go, hey, now I'm happy, I'm flying. Or you go, no, it's not enough. And then you have to basically, I'm a round peg in a square hole. Where's my round hole that I fit in? You have to kind of go on that journey. And it takes courage. It takes courage to do that. I left the normal corporate job after 20 years, and it's like a big leap of faith. So there's that. But if you are an entrepreneur, then I just so happen to have another book for you, which is that one, which I've written, The Spiritual Entrepreneur, which I self-published through Amazon and Kindle. And that's the energetic and practical journey. So I think we're very blessed that we're in a different zone with money. We can go into the system, we can meet it, pay our taxes. Nobody loves paying taxes, but bless the system, pay the taxes, and let's hope it's not being used too much for war. They're going to use it for nice things like hospitals and schools and things. And so it's rethinking our relationship with money. It's also valuing money, because I realized a lot of spiritual people, including myself, didn't value money. And so when I realized I don't actually value money, I put it very low down in my priorities. So I went out and, Ospreys in London, it's a shop in, where is it? Haymarket, I think it is. So I went in there and I bought myself a man bag, which cost me an arm and a leg. I bought myself a wallet. I bought myself a card holder, a coin holder, and I just thought I'm valuing money. Not that I needed those things, but it's just showing, it was kind of a statement to myself. I'm now valuing money, so it's contained in a beautiful container. So anybody who's listening to this who's got spiritual values, which is going to be everyone, I imagine, how much do you truly value money, or is it kind of like a sideline? Because for for certainly hundreds of years, money and spirituality have been like, if you're chasing money or using money, you can't be spiritual. But now it's like coming together, because I can't pay my IT man in bananas or Reiki healing or anything like that. I actually have to pay him with money. Would be nice. Yeah.
It's also, I feel, it's really, it's in this day and age, definitely in terms of our spiritual values, it's also a reflection of how much we value ourselves and the work that we have to bring to the world, right? Like,
yeah,
if we're not valuing money, then the question is, well, how much are we valuing what we have to offer? And, you know, we can't bypass our unique abilities. You know, I know it's a lot of the time we do this work because it's service and it's our, you know, it's our kind of God-given work, but also we do need to live in the world. You know, we're in it, but we're not of it in a way.
Yeah.
So I find once you start working on your core values, the thing about working on your money is it brings your stuff up really big time, doesn't it? I mean, I've been doing a lot of work around the money theme lately, and it sent me nearly doolally. Like, it's actually brought up so much about childhood and security, or my security, my comfort, and so many other themes are really pulled into it. And one of those themes was, I came to this really interesting conclusion, which was, wow, I don't ever feel safe at home. And I didn't feel safe at home as a child. And then I find that I either get bored or I want to be out in the world. In lockdown, I found it really challenging because I didn't want to stay put at home. It made me feel really anxious to be at home. I need a home, I need a base.
Yeah.
But I don't like to feel like I can't flee, like I can't get out of the home when I really want to. And I found that really, and I just thought that was because I'm a Libra and I'm a free spirit and all of that. But actually it was so entangled in the way that money was used as control, you know, when I was a child and in my teenage years, and a level of manipulation that was coming through it. So it's about reframing all of that, reclaiming your security, your inner value, and then letting your money reflect that, rather than seeing money as kind of puppet strings. I think it's like, well, if I want freedom, if I want more freedom, then money is actually a doorway to freedom. It's not hindering my freedom. So it was about reversing that program. So interesting once you start delving into it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, down the rabbit hole. Well, I think a lot of star seeds, light workers, have this issue of safety in the family. They're born in families where the family doesn't really get them. And so am I safe? Or there is this control around. I remember my family used to say, don't make noise, otherwise we'll be evicted. Like this kid, like, and I had this thing about, well, I have to keep quiet, otherwise we're going to be thrown on the streets. You know? And that, I thought, I kind of, you might think, well, it's ridiculous, but actually it popped up later in life where it was still some part of me believed it. I had to kind of dumb myself down. So money is fuel for the journey. It's not the point of the journey, of course. Some people make the point at the point of the journey. But when you pass over, you're not taking your money with you. You know, yeah, you can leave it to your kids, of course. But as far as starseeds lightwork is concerned, they're mainly orientated to service to other. You know, this idea of service to self, service to other. There's these two poles. No one is completely one or the other. There's always a balance, but we're primarily service to other, which means we're doing the work because we want to help people and, you know, change the world and, you know, transform people's lives and help people live better lives, happier lives. And money facilitates that, you know, and also we can have nice massages and go on holiday occasionally, which is nice. But the main focus is service to other. In the 3D world, the main focus, when I worked in banking and then local government, the main focus is, what about me? What about my money? I'm going to go on strike. I'm offended. I'm, you know, whatever. And it's about me. I'm the center of the universe. I don't care about other people. Yes, I might care about my family, but I'm just going to elbow people out the way. And certainly in the city, people with, you know, big egos, elbowing people out the way. I'm going to get to the top of the pyramid. So there is this balance of service to self, service to other. But if we go too far in service to other, we could burn out. Sacrifice. So, you know, give, no receiving, burnout. resentment, upset, burnout. Everyone, every mother must know that, give, not getting anything back. Where's my husband? Making the dinner and nobody's giving me any love and I'm burning out, getting resentful. So there's always, in any flow of money or exchange, it's giving and receiving. What comes around must go around. And
sorry to cut in, Steve.
Yeah, go on.
Archangel Shemuel coming in really, really strong, like really strong here. And the impression I'm getting here is this whole message around self-love and the internal struggle that goes on with many starseeds and empaths around how do I be loving to myself and loving to the other at the same time. And it feels like we're definitely going through this massive timeline shift, but I'm being shown, for many of our viewers and for many of the people who have been on the awakened journey, what Shemuel's showing me is this level of heartbreak and grief and this feeling of sort of like an internal tug of war. Like, in order to be more loving to myself, do I then have to let go of the people that I've loved? That thing of kind of overgiving, people pleasing is such a shift. I did a video on the crossroads recently, but I can feel this. It's almost like a collective heartbreak going on here. How do we move forward? How do we be more self-loving? How do we value ourselves more and be in service? It's like this internal kind of push-pull that's happening, I think. What's your take on that sensation?
Well, I think, we're asked on the journey to rethink, reshape our boundaries, our energetic boundaries. And that reshaping means that we're very weak. And for a lot of starseeds, we're open, giving, hey, let me say yes to everything. Even when I mean no, do I mean, I don't really want to do it, but yeah, let's say yes anyway, this kind of yes. And we're asked to reshape our boundaries, which is a bit hard, which means we have to start saying, I'm not really ready for that. No, I can't do that. But we can do it in a loving way. Of course, if we're doing it in an angry way, no, I'm not doing that. Then, of course, there's reactions and the world starts reacting against us. But if we have to come to terms, is it okay for me to have this boundary around time, money, space, all the important bits? If we come to the point it is okay, then we can say to another, I'm okay with it now. I want this boundary. And actually, I'm going to say no to that. I'm sorry about that. Or I'm going to change my agreement around that. And some people may get upset and they're the ones who will leave. So it's not like we have to boot them out. Naturally, the universe will go, they will leave. They'll go, you're not fun to be with anymore. I like to take from you and you're not doing it. So I'm off. I'll find somebody else to take from. And there'll be a lot of people that will stay and be okay with this new relationship. So we are asked all the time to rethink. I mean, with our boundaries, for some people who've grown up with a lack of safety, which is what you mentioned, some people create boundaries which are super strong and rigid. Actually, what Spirit is saying to those people is you need to soften your boundaries a little bit. But the majority of starseeds is you need to put up some boundaries. Do you have boundaries? When I take people into inner journeys around their boundaries, I say, where's your boundaries? They say, I can't see them. There are no walls there. Nothing's there. And I'm like, yeah, right, exactly. Anything can come in and mess around with you. You need to have some kind of energetic space, like protection around you. So it's having some sense of space boundaries. And for the minority listening to this, it's or even in some areas of our lives, we may have too strong a, because of some trauma or whatever, we're going boom, and people feel it, like, whoa, the prickly walls come up, and they're like, whoa, what's happening now? So it's like, notice it. We don't need the prickly walls with machine guns on the top pointing down. We can kind of bring them down a little bit. And where there's no boundaries, we put something up which is loving, caring to ourselves and then others, because, everyone understands that we all need some kind of boundaries, even children, and I notice with my daughter and my granddaughters, my granddaughter's strategy is, if we keep bashing at my mother's no, eventually it will become a yes. That's their strategy, and it works.
It's like the bull in the china shop, isn't it? The head.
Yeah, 100% of the time they get it. But with granddad, it's like, well, we'll try. It's not working. We'll give up because we know he's not gonna. His no is kind of no, and so they don't keep battering it, and so they don't keep wasting their energy and my energy, and so I see my daughter getting exhausted with it, And I said, it's just you just need to say no and mean it, not no, and then it becomes a yes later. But hey, it's difficult with children, of course.
There's a theme coming in now. They're really coming in very clear today for this chat. I think they want to just make sure we cover everything. So I've got Zafkiel and Ratziel coming in together, and they're talking about the mystery and the alchemy of the mystery. And this is something that I talk about a lot, but that feeling of maybe it's like a fear of the future or the fear of the unknown. I know that you and I have both talked a lot about the dark night of the soul and how many star seeds are going through that or have gone through that. And that feeling of like the bottom coming out of your world, feeling all at sea, not knowing which way is up or down, that kind of feeling. But I'm seeing it, what they're kind of showing me is that this is a bit of if you're going through this, it's a bit of a reset. It kind of allows you to, you're working in the realm of magic in that realm, and it kind of allows you to then kind of take the steering wheel back, if you will, decide what direction you want to go in. And I find that can be a little bit, it can give you a little bit of trepidation. It's like suddenly, oh gosh, I'm waiting for the universe to tell me what direction to go in, but actually now I've got to decide what direction to go in, and I've got to decide what I want. I know as Librans we find this hard.
Yeah.
What's your take on this? What's your experience of that? Feeling like, okay, it falls to me now. We are the divine. We have to kind of realize we're the center of our universe.
Yeah. Well, we are the ones with our hands on the steering wheel, hopefully. And of course, if we're in the 3D world, the steering wheel is in the hands of other people, your wife or boss or whatever. But on the path, we're taking the steering wheel back, going, I'm the master of my fate, my destiny, and I decide, I choose, I say yes, I say no. I'm and choices are a major thing, aren't they? What am I saying yes to and what am I saying no to? But we are always guided. So it's like, am I choosing from my ego, my little will, or am I choosing from my big will? Of course. And if I'm choosing from my little will or responding to life from my little will, then I get into problems, get into difficulties, and the universe will quickly give you a little, no, that. And I realized I made a few choices years ago when I was on the path, and I realized, oh, that was made from my ego. Now I realize, and so it's a learning curve. Go, oh, okay, then, well, how do I know what's ego and what's higher self? Oh, now I know that didn't work out very well. Whereas I listened to that voice, which was more gentler, more reassuring, it worked out better. So I had a girlfriend many years ago, back in the 90s, and I had a strong intuition that we should stop after the second or third date. Let's be friends. And she was very sharp, Jewish, very sharp.
I know that one.
And she, And she said to me, how do you know that's not your fear talking rather than your intuition? And I was like, oh, what a question. I didn't know the answer to that. So I said, oh, okay. So we carried on dating for a few weeks until I meditated intensely and I got the answer. Now I know, okay. And I said to her, no, it's definitely my intuition. I know now. And here's the reason why. And we're still friends now. And so for a lot of people, they don't know the difference between ego and intuition. And it's an important distinction to have, and it's a bit like here in England, when you say to someone who's English, how are you feeling? They go, I'm feeling okay. Or I'm feeling fine. There's no distinction. But if someone's been on a long journey and you ask them how you're feeling, they'll give you an hour of all the distinctions. Well, I'm feeling this and I feel that. And it's
this
like
is
learning.
Me and my husband.
All right. Okay. Learning the language of feeling.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Fine. What is it? Yeah. There's a whole definition for fine, which I probably can't give on this chat. But so sometimes on the path, we are led into a dark night or a time of darkness. And what that is an existential crisis where we go, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know why I'm here anymore. I don't know where I'm going anymore. It's kind of really deep, which I went through for 6 years. And we've both been through this kind of thing. The higher self will allow it if there's a reason for it. But it is a kind of risky path. It's not like 100% guarantee, go through the darkness and you'll be fine. Some people can get lost in that darkness. It's like life is not like, there's no guarantees when we come out the birth canal that you will awaken, you will learn all your lessons, you will be fine, you will pass over into the other world having completed everything, and all of that. There's no guarantees, but we do our best. And so a higher self will allow a dark night if it thinks, or if it feels that you will learn something very valuable there potentially. You may not learn it, but the potential is that you will learn it. So I'm only doing my work after going through a dark night of the soul and coming out the other side going, oh my God, just one of the things I realized was dark forces do exist. Because before then I kind of felt people do a bit of psychic interference, but I never really had a strong connection or feeling for dark. I mean, I'm talking really dark forces, not like a few upset neighbors or anything. And so dark forces exist, and the lower astral worlds do exist. Because I did a lot of shamanic work before. I never found any lower astral. I thought, what are people talking about lower astral worlds? But I experienced them. And the lower astral worlds for me, they're very different ones. But for example, one of them that I went into was like the forest of Avatar, when he's lost in the forest. And it's all like weird creatures and odd. So I remember
or like Princess Bride, where he goes, I always use this quote, that in the Dread Forest or whatever it's called, I always say, yes, I could happily build a summer home there. I'll build a summer home in the shadow, because you got to get comfortable in your discomfort, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to. Yes, you do have to get comfortable. But it will end, and you pop out, and then when you come out of it, intuition gets reconnected in a stronger way. Well, that was my experience, and guidance gets reconnected in a stronger way. Whereas before, it was like definitely not. I think I needed the darkness to give me a sense of that's my light and that's darkness. Oh, right, I get it now. Whereas if everyone is, for example, if someone grows up in life, beautiful parents, beautiful life, and you say to them, what's darkness? They'll go, I've got no idea. No idea. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it exists. Or if you want to ask someone about abundance, speak to somebody who's been through scarcity first, because they will really know what abundance is, because they've been through scarcity. Because we learn through opposition, don't we? We learn through light, dark, scarcity, abundance, love, betrayal, rejection,
isn't it?
all those things.
We live in this realm of duality. Our consciousness is multi-dimensional, but on this plane of existence, it's light, dark, good, bad, right, wrong, up, down, male, female, all of that.
Yeah.
And when we talk about, sacred union and unity, love, consciousness, it's got to be within first, I suppose. So I always think of it as the egos being deliberately broken down so that we can see into the darkness, but bring more light there. We can see more of what we would judge to be bad within ourselves and forgive that, and maybe see the mirror in the other. But also it's a choice, isn't it? I mean, when we talk about empath, narcissist kind of traits, it's a choice. You don't have to stay and cuddle up to somebody who's causing you harm. You have to get out of the kitchen if the fire is hot,
Yes, you do.
Practicals to it as well.
Yeah. Well, they're all very humbling experiences. So I've had two narcissists in my life. One was a boss and one was a romantic connection. And both were like, oh, right. Because when the first narcissist, I go, are they serious? Is this real? Yeah. It took me 3 months to get to the point, no, they are like that. And then the second time around again, it took me a long time, even longer actually, to go, no, this person is that way. They're not joking. And meeting a narcissist, of course, again, has lessons. It's humbling. All of these experiences are humbling. And if we've got a strong ego or whatever ego we've got, the ego gets confronted, and that's part of the journey. We're not always confronted in workshops where we have, rainbows around us and butterflies. There's no confrontation. And this world is so good because we are confronted with things and we're forced to look into ourselves, hopefully. A narcissist won't, but if we're confronted, like I know you've been through a major challenge not so long ago, and it makes you kind of confront yourself and look inside and go, why is this happening? What's going on? And your ego gets reconfigured a bit, and you come out the other side stronger for it. When I was in alternatives, I had lots of challenges as a director. I mean, if there was any shit that was going to hit the fan, Steve's going to deal with it, and the others weren't going to deal with it. I'm not dealing with it, you deal with it. So I'm the one dealing with it. But it made me stronger. It made me more resourceful. It made me, I've seen this before. Okay, no worries, I'll sort it out kind of attitude. And of course, that attitude's helped me in my own work. Okay, here's a challenge. No big deal. Let's find a way through it over it. Where some people freak out. Oh my God, it's a challenge. And I'm like, have you never had challenges before in your life? They're there to help you. They're there to make you stronger. What doesn't kill you will make you stronger. I think there is that in it. But it's not that we have to deliberately, we're not choosing to grow through suffering or struggle. We are choosing to grow through joy. But even on the joyful path, challenges will come up and we can meet them joyfully. We can go, hi, here we are again. In business, me and my partner have got, we're ongoingly, there's always challenges, but we meet it joyfully, go, oh, that's fine. The universe will show us a way around that one. We know, and it always works out. It's not that we kind of sit back and think the universe is going to sort it out. We've also got to sort it out, but we know we'll be guided. And so we have people who kind of may let us down and we go, but that's okay. We're not going to have a thing about it. Somebody else is going to step in. And recently somebody else stepped in and it was brilliant. It all worked out fine. And I have that kind of trust. It will work out fine, no matter the challenge, And if there's something I'll learn from it, I need to sit down and go, what do I need to learn from this? And
trust the universe. It's like I always go, I may not see how I'm going to get through this, but if I trust in the highest outcome and I hold on to that feeling of what it would feel like for the best thing to happen, if the mystery was actually a miracle and not all doom and gloom, I always imagine we get afraid of our future, don't we, if we don't know what's coming up, or sometimes we're flying blind. For those of us like us, the seers, that's an odd place to be in, but it's like the timelines are so multiple now. It's like, whoa, what's coming up? So I always go, okay, I'm going to turn my anxiety into a feeling of excitement, and I'm just going to go, wow, what if I can't see what's coming up, but it's going to be better than ever? And I focus on that feeling of joy and excitement. And wow, it's actually like the sudden shock of something good rather than the sudden shock of something bad. Because I spent a lot of my life having rugs coming out from under me. And that was the way I used to grow. And now I'm like, no, thank you, universe, not for that anymore. I do a lot of work where it's like, we lift people to the highest kind of spiritual, metaphysical timeline for them, but you've also got to lift the material timeline and the physical timeline to match that and to integrate that, because we really are here for heaven on earth. We're here, like we said about, I do a lot of systems work, as do you. But I'm looking at these systems, and a lot of people, like you say, break from the system, and I'm rebelling against this and that and the other. But actually, we're here to bring light into those systems and help those systems elevate, transition, and they're going through an evolution as well. And if we see ourselves as divine, then every system is an extension of our own consciousness anyway, isn't it? So
every system we're in relationship, certainly. And I think that the thing you mentioned, fear of the future, fear of the unknown, which you mentioned before as well, was we get to a space where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know it's going to be great.
Yes.
Or I don't know what's going to happen next year. People are worrying about the economy, I don't worry about it. I kind of briefly look at headlines just to see what kind of craziness is the 3D world doing. Of course, I don't ignore it, but our vibration aligns us with a timeline. So if we consistently raise our vibration, be joyful, be optimistic, not naive, but being, but being wisely optimistic, being courageous, all of these qualities, connecting with spirit, having a sense of clarity of where we want to go and where our higher self wants us to go, and hopefully they kind of line up. And then we know that whatever happens, it's going to be fine, because ultimately, in this world, there is no guarantee. There is no safety. We're going to die one day. People go, but yes, in the Buddha used to get people to meditate on death, and it's actually a good thing to know that one day we will leave the planet and the soul is eternal, and we will be in another existence, and maybe we'll come back further along the timeline here or somewhere else, and it's fine. This is not the end of the journey. The samurai used to say, I'm already dead. The sword hasn't struck me yet. And it's quite a liberating, it sounds kind of weird, but it's kind of liberating. Maybe it's more of a masculine way of looking at things, but a liberating way of looking at things that means we can move forward without fear. And then as we move forward without fear, right? Our children, grandchildren, I've got 4 granddaughters, they're going, Granddad, you know, you're a bit weird, but hey, you know, I'm interested in your weird YouTube and your weird. So we become a kind of resource for. And I love to see all these younger starseeds, younger people coming in, and actually, because I'm a bit older, and I can actually give them a little bit of wisdom, rather than if I'd have just lived my life in the 3D world and never taken any risks and never left that world, all I'd have to offer them is my resentment and bitterness and despair.
Yeah. Well, I have to say as well, I do a lot of soul midwifery work where I do help people pass over. I've helped a lot of people pass through that gateway of death, and I go part of the way with them. I know Dr. Raymond Moody used to talk a lot about shared death experience, and I was already having it before I met him, and he talked about it. And I often get to see part of the life review of the person. And I even helped my sister's cat pass the other day, Henry, and I saw the cat's life review, and it was the most beautiful thing. One of the things I've learned is that we actually are not meant to be caught in a reincarnation cycle. And something that I do when I'm helping people pass, it's 12:12 on the clock as we record this, is I ask for them to go home to their highest point of their own soul energy. They go home to, it's not just to the light, because you don't know what that light could be. It could be a light bulb, you know. It's go home to your own soul, to your divinity, go to the pathway that is highest for you. And I'm finding that we are able, if we pass well and we pass high and we go home to ourselves, we're able to transcend the reincarnation cycle, because of course it isn't linear, it's holographic. And if you think of us now as humans, and you know, the part of us that is already dead from this life, there is another part of us that has already passed from this life on some future timeline. There's aspects of us that are, you know, it's like the facets of a multidimensional crystal. We can access every dimension through our heart. And when viewed from spirit, it's not a time of sadness. Of death is actually a birth into the spirit realm. So it's actually quite beautiful and quite humbling. And you know, for those who have lost people, loads of people passing at the moment since the pandemic, and now we've got huge like mass exodus off the planet. And for those people losing people, I just want to say, you know, they don't go anywhere. It's not up there or down there, or you know, they're around us all the time. They've just dropped the human suit, if you will. And it's interesting. You know, it's so beautiful, isn't it? And Azrael's coming in just with a blessing, just to say, it's as simple as asking for somebody to pass high and well, that it will open that gateway.
Yeah. Well, when I'm ready to pass, I'll give you a call, Alex.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be fine. You know, I've already seen myself in other lifetimes. There was a lifetime in Egypt where I was this ancient woman, well into my hundreds, and I just lay down on an altar and went, right, it's time to leave the body now. And I just sat up and went. And I think I'd trained in it in loads of different lifetimes. And it's just like, I've asked for me to have the choice when I go in this lifetime as well.
Yeah, I like the idea of conscious dying, because most of us die unconsciously and afraid. But the idea of conscious dying, I'm not quite preparing myself for that yet. But there'll be a time where I think I'm going to get into training for conscious dying, where I just go into meditation and out I go.
Just leave at will. I don't get afraid, but when I'm on an airplane or something, I just go, guys, I'm not ready to go yet. I've got too much to do here, and I really quite like being on this planet, however hairy it gets. I mean, it's been an intense journey, hasn't it, Steve, for the likes of us? My God, and it's still hotting up. But I still see every day as an absolute blessing, and every experience as an opportunity for growth or learning. And I think that if we can all have that outlook, we really are helping to build the most beautiful, you know, new version of Earth that we can. We have that connected vision.
Yeah, I think I'm a cat person. I've got 9 lives. I've already used 5 of them because I had some near-death experiences. Twice nearly drowned. Once in Australia, actually. Nearly drowned.
Careful in Australia, yeah.
Yeah, I was being pulled out, and I had a prayer to the higher self, and then a freak wave threw me on the shore, which was great. And then in Greece, I nearly drowned. And I said, this was in the dark night of the soul. I said, but I haven't finished my book, The Enlightenment of Work. I haven't finished it. I need to finish it. And then 2 people came and rescued me, swam out and rescued me, pulled me. I was dragged up on the beach and dropped
Yeah.
Very embarrassing. But so I've had 5 of my lives. I've got 4 left. I've told my partner. So she said, "Don't worry, I've got 4 left." And
I've
I'm
had
not going to go.
about 3, and one of mine was at birth. I should have been a dead baby, apparently. Oh, I think that's why I came in with a foot in either world. I was literally, they told my mother, you're having a stillborn, and came in just, yeah, completely open, I suppose.
Oh, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, me too, mate. I think we had to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, is there anything else that you would like to say to people? I kind of feel like any tips on a good practice to get into for this time now, because it feels like we're being buffeted around even more at the moment. So
Well, there's 2 things. One is a process around transforming anything you're faced with. The 3 levels of belief are always, do I deserve this? You have to answer the question, do I deserve more abundance? Do I deserve a loving partner? Am I capable of having this experience? Is it within me that I can actually have that experience? Is this something that's possible for me? So deserving, capable, and possible. And the other, that's just for processing anything inside. Those 3 questions will help to process anything out. And the other thing is just a daily practice of raising vibration, laughing, tea in beautiful places, swimming in a beautiful sea. I'm right by the sea. Walking in nature. Anything that lifts your vibe, do more of it, because that's the key. High vibrational living. Anything that pulls your energy down, then you either have to release it or find a way of transforming it. That's or minimizing it. You know, there are some people you can't jettison them, but you can minimize your interactions or change your interactions with them. So raise your vibe, shift what pulls your vibe down, and anything inside of you that you want to experience. Do I deserve it? Am I capable of experiencing this? Is it possible for me? And even if there are no's, you can sit and go, why not? Why am I not? Who says I don't deserve? If I'm not capable, is there a skill missing that I can go and learn? You know, there's always ways through all of this stuff. So
all the answers are within, aren't they?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh, bless you, honey. Well, I wish we had longer to talk. I know you and I could go on for days and days. We will speak again, I'm sure. And just for those of you watching, do check out Steve's YouTube channel. And is it stevenobel.com, the website?
thesoulmatrix.com.
Oh, thesoulmatrix.com, and I'll put the links below. Do check out Steve's work and his beautiful book, Joy at Work. And of course, all the transmissions that I often fall asleep to, because they're great for just taking you under and giving you a lovely healing. And I love that service that you do too, hun.
Thank you. You find me on Instagram, Steve Nobel 101.
Room 101, eh?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Alex.
much, Steve. And thanks everyone for watching. Have a great day. Bye.